This is Dan Rogers, your host on We the People Town Square, coming to you from the center of the universe, the high plains of Texas, near the headwaters of the Prairie Dog Town Fork of the Red River. I'm Dan Rogers, chairman of the Potter County Republican Party. And I've been talking to my precinct chairs and primary voters that vote in the primary, and they're asking about why I haven't done any interviews or few interviews on county commissioners. And they said they'd like to see those. So I said, well, I didn't get any response from the incumbents. They won't respond to our invitations, but we've reached out. We've emailed them, no response. We've made phone calls, no response. One of them actually hung up on us. So because the voters want to know the answers to these questions, I'm going to interview them just like I do anybody else. And at least I've done my due diligence as a county chair to ask these questions for the voters. So here we go. John Coffey's not here, but I want to ask him, the first question I would ask him is, why is he running for re-election? John, why are you running for re-election? Another question I often get is, what does a commissioner do? John, would you explain to the voters the duties and the role and the responsibilities of a county commissioner? Another question I often get is, how much does a county commissioner make? What's their pay? Could you answer that for the voters for us, please? What is your background? Have you ever owned a business, had employees, worked in the private sector? Or have you been a lifelong government employee? Would you like to list some of your accomplishments for the voters? Under your watch, it's my understanding that Potter County is shrinking in population and Randall County is growing. Could you explain to the voters why that is? What is zero-based budgeting, and why have you all not implemented that in Potter County? The state passed a constitutional amendment last November in order to reduce property taxes because local government entities, counties, school districts, cities were getting excessive in their property tax rates. What do you think about that, and do you feel like you're personally responsible for that? One of the primary duties of the County Commissioners Court is to choose the election system in their county. Why, when the County Executive Committee of the party you purport to represent has twice asked you to move to an accountable and verifiable system, you have refused them? Why? Why are you unwilling to give the voters and the party you purport to want to represent the voting system they want? Isn't our vote the foundation of our republic? It's our voice. Why have you abdicated that responsibility to the state? And why have you turned on our Republican Party? Do you think it's important that we keep our elections controlled at the local level? Do you agree or disagree that a ballot should be defined as a hand-marked, self-authenticated, tangible document that can be verified. In your vote against the Potter County Republican Party and against the primary voters who make up our party, you said you preferred convenience over simple, verifiable, and an inexpensive system. Why? Under our current system, there is no ballot. How can we have elections without ballots? Whose responsibility under your system is it to determine if there is fraud, and how would you prove it? Under your computer voting, how can a candidate such as yourself prove that you've won? If you suspect your opponent or anyone else of fraud in the upcoming election, how are you going to prove it? We've also talked about this before, but your court and judge took $87,000 from Mark Zuckerberg Center for Technology and Civic Relief organization, and several have asked questions about how that money was dispersed, and we've never gotten an answer. Why will y'all not give us that information, nor explain to us why our voter rolls seemed to surge by nearly 4,000 voters about that time? Could we please get clarity on this? And why did Potter County get money from Zuckerberg, but Randall County didn't? Does our Secretary of State, the SOS, have the voting results in their office before our election administrator on election night? And if this is true, how did they get them? Are absentee ballots safe? Do absentee ballots have a chain of custody? How can you prove that an absentee ballot that is sent out is the one that is received in the EA's office? When we had our ballot drawn, I used an electronic method for you and HR. You both got very upset. Why? It has come to my attention that y'all have a video of that event. Would you be willing to let me send that out to the voters for you? Now let's talk about the new courthouse. That seems to be a big issue in this campaign. Is it true that it's over a year behind schedule? Is it true that it cannot be used and is uninhabitable from a commercial standpoint? I'm also hearing rumors that the second floor has to be redone at a tremendous expense. Could you fill us in on what's going on there? Who is responsible for overseeing this building's construction? Did it go through the city permit process, or was that circumvented? I've heard rumors that it's over $20 million over budget. Is that true? Did y'all get voter approval to build this new courthouse, or did you use CDOs? If you use CDOs, why? It's been reported in different articles that the county chose not to get voter approval because they said, or it was reported, and I don't know if it's true or not, that y'all did not want to take it to the voters because you knew the voters would turn it down. Is that true? So who's going to bear this cost of the $20 million overrun? Is that going to have to come out of your pocket as a commissioner? Because it's my understanding y'all were responsible for overseeing the construction, or is that going to be pushed off as an expense to the taxpayers? Which county has higher property taxes? Randall or Potter? Why? Would you like to list some of your other accomplishments as a commissioner and kind of explain to the voters why they should choose you over your opponent? Well, that's kind of what I thought. How can voters get in contact with you? Do you have like a website people could get more information and see all your accomplishments or find out more information about your campaign? I just want to tell you, John, that I want to compliment you on how I really enjoy your euphemism at the end of your talks about how everything is better with coffee. And I really like coffee myself. I drink it all day long. I like my coffee strong. So when you say everything is better with coffee, I'm just wondering what type of coffee you're referring to. Is it referring to strong coffee or weak